It's early spring in Northern California, and El Niño rains are changing the dynamic of water in this state. Rivers and creeks are swollen, and many reservoirs have surpassed their historical average. There's now a glimmer of hope that this drought could soon end. There's another more figurative cloud on the horizon that could also have massive impact on water in California. I'm talking about a proposed ballot measure that would redirect $8 billion of high-speed rail money to new water storage projects. Now, on the surface, that seems like an easy choice, especially in the context of this historic drought. It's not the concept that's the problem. It's what's hidden inside that ballot measure that will wreak havoc on water rights and law in California.
So you look at it and you think, well, it's about, defunding high-speed rail, it's about taking those dollars and putting them into storage. How could that be bad? And if that's all that it did, it wouldn't be a problem really, frankly, at all.
I'm going to highlight for you 3 reasons why this measure is a misfire. 3 reasons why you should not sign the petition to put this measure on the ballot. 3 reasons why you should vote no should this measure end up on the ballot. Reason 1.
It actually sets up a constitutional amendment for water rights priorities. All agree that it's so poorly written and so open to interpretation, it certainly would be reviewed by the courts and years of litigation.
The new water rights priority this measure is attempting to establish: Urban 1, Ag 2, and Environment 3.
For the Sacramento Valley, as you know, we manage water for farms and cities and rural communities, fish, birds, the whole suite of things, and trying to prioritize that in the Constitution, in our view, is not helpful to how we manage water in the Sacramento Valley. It will only distract from the hard work that goes into how we manage water for all those purposes.
When you reprioritize water, until you find out what happens, certainly, you may lose water, and once you lose water, you lose communities, you lose infrastructure, and it just turns the apple cart upside down.
Reason 2. This measure won't just take money from the train, it will take the $2.7 billion of Prop 1 bond money already earmarked for storage projects. That $2.7 billion is now on the cusp of being doled out to potential storage projects like Sites Reservoir and Temperance Flat. Expectations are that it could happen as soon as a year from now. However, under this measure, the Prop 1 money would be pulled and put under the authority of an entirely new bureaucratic agency.
To say that it would be a year's number of delay is almost a certainty, because you've got to form the new body, you've got to get regulations in place for that new body, then that new body's got to go ahead and allocate those funds. We could easily be into the next drought cycle before that process resolves itself.
And this $2.7 billion that for the first time in decades in California is finally available to build water storage is now potentially going to be put into a whole nother process that we really don't have a whole lot of certainty about.
If this initiative passes, who knows how many years it's going to take before there's an agency created to administer the funds. Then they have to go through all the regulatory or the procedures required to develop the process, and it just is going to take too long. And we need storage in this state now, not 15 years from now.
Reason 3. Rewriting the Constitution in a manner that declares environmental use of water to be the lowest priority.
And to say that somehow that the environment ought to come last is just not who we are as a community up here in agriculture.
And I think by somehow saying that the environment is not an important part of water management in California, I think it's just really unfortunate, and I think will set us back in all the hard work that we've pursued for the last several decades.
This isn't just about hijacking the high-speed rail money. It's not just about hijacking the Proposition 1 money. It fundamentally reorders water rights in California in a way that could literally drain streams and rivers that all of us look at as part of the California lifeblood.
Bottom line, the construction of this measure is a rush job built on the emotions of what has been a painful and devastating drought. It's not going to bring new water storage to California sooner than Prop 1 can. It's going to be tangled up in court for years. It's the kind of measure that, if passed, we will look back on and think to ourselves, why did we ever vote for this thing?
Don't like the train, that's fine. Do like more storage, that's fine. This is a classic overreach, right? People wanting to fix everything in a ballot measure. Not quite frankly even understanding what they were doing, and certainly not employing the kinds of experts that, folks that work in water law forever have done.
I think a well thought through initiative, could have been helpful in this kind of debate, but the one that they just quickly put together without any input from Northern California, without any input from water rights experts, without any input from people that understood the storage projects that are before California, I think was just really foolhardy on their part.
I think this is frankly much more of a train robbery and a heist of the voter-approved funds in Proposition 1, and simply play upon people's fears that California is running out of water. And the truth of it is, we have enough water if we can balance our needs and really track that water in the system.
Everybody can agree with the frustration and the concept of, hey, we should be spending money not on high-speed rail but on water infrastructure, but the devil's in the details here, and the details aren't good for the whole state of California.